Hi guys, welcome to a quick update on the coral in my 93-gallon aquarium. I hope to be doing videos like this every 1 or 2 months as a way for myself to keep track of how my coral and how the tank is doing in general, and I invite you guys to come along for the ride. Now, the reason I put quick in quotation marks is because after editing this video, it turns out that this video is going to be the length of a short movie. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you guys have fun watching the video. The last thing I'd like to add is, if you guys are interested in any reef-related topics or reef aquariums in general, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because I'm going to be releasing more content related specifically to the reefing hobby. So that's it for me, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Hi guys, it is Tuesday, November 13th, and this is going to be a general update on how the tank is doing. The first thing I'd like to say is I will not be going over the equipment because nothing has changed. If you are interested in what equipment I'm running, you can check out my equipment video. I will have a link in the description below. The other thing I'd like to add is, if you're watching this, Black Friday is coming up in 2 weeks. So if you're thinking of buying something substantial or buying anything for your aquarium, you should probably wait just 2 weeks. It's actually going to be a bit less than 2 weeks now before buying it. And if you want to leave a comment about what you're thinking of buying, that'd be really cool. I'm personally thinking about adding 2 more Gallon power heads. However, Aqua Illumination Nero 5 has just been released, I think in the last 1 or 2 months. And apparently everyone who has it thinks it's really nice. So I am considering not getting the 2 power heads and instead just getting the Nero 5, but we will see. The other thing I'm gonna get is an overflow kit so that I can drill my 75-gallon aquarium, and then hopefully in the next 6 months hook it up to the 93-gallon. So those are the 2 big things. There are some other day-to-day things I will be getting. I'm thinking about getting another bottle of Aqua Power. I need more reefroids, and I'm going to get more 2-part. First place I'm going to start is the 4-gram. So in the bottom left front of my aquarium, I have some frags of JF Jack-o'-lantern Leptoceras that I have growing out. I will probably try to sell or trade some of these frags, but my future goal, is I would like to have a rock just covered in this stuff. Initially I thought the spot where this red Favia was going to be the Jack-o'-lantern spot, but then I got the Favia, and I mean, it looks great. It's actually doing really well in that spot. And like, it's big. It's probably my only, what I can call a colony. And it eats really well. It's fun to watch it eat. It's fun to feed it. So I don't have any plans of doing anything with this Favia anytime soon. As far as I'm concerned, that rock is the Favia's rock. So over to the left of the Favia, you can see I have the Starburst Monty. I'm still not sure where I want to put it. And there's also the Tyree Toadstool. So I've had the Toadstool, I want to say maybe 8 months. And it's actually grown a ton. I'm going to change the angle right now, so you can see, like, it's getting up there. And I don't think this is its final spot. In fact, I know it's not, because I got that war coral above it, and I know once that war coral reaches this mushroom, it's probably going to win. So I gotta think about where I want to put it. Maybe it's going to go in the 75 gallon once it's ready. Below this, so this is tucked right in the corner, and it's because, again, I've kind of run out of space. So this is my Hollywood Stunner chalice. It's a really nice chalice. It's a thin plating chalice. It's got very bright green mouths, and it's really hardy. It's a fast grower. If anyone likes chalices, you should definitely pick one up. You just have to be aware that it does have really long stinger tentacles. So I did frag this chalice maybe about a week ago. It was getting too big, and I figured maybe someone would want to trade for some frags, so that's what I did, and the frags are currently sitting on my frag rack. So in the back there, I have 2 frags of Hollywood Stunner. One is huge. One's probably 2.5 inches by 1 inch, and the other one is substantially smaller, maybe 1 inch by 1 inch. So down below, again, because I'm kind of running low on space, I have this Mr. Freeze Leptosiris. A couple more frags over here. One of them was partially covered by this chalice. So I think this is called a 3G Mummy Eye chalice. It's beautiful. It's like orange mouths on yellow skin, and the growing edges are green. I find most growing edges on things are green. But, one of the other things, so I got this about a month ago, and it was already, the plug was, the frag towel was fully covered. So what I did recently was, I actually went to the States and I got these 3-inch frag discs. So this is a Reef Builder's frag disc, and I am going to have a short review come out. It's probably going to be like a bonus video, because how much can you actually say about a frag disc? But I'm really excited to see this chalice actually grow out on this disc, and you can see it's already starting, and that's something I'm very excited about. Just behind the chalice, I do have pink zipper zoas in the bottom left. And then this is I've seen it called multiple things, but a needle in the haystack acro or a Pac-Man acro. So the lighting is not the best on this acro right now, but it is, when the light is not so blue, its flesh is more pinky. And then its tips are like highlighted a green, kind of like a subdued green, and it's got these huge this polyp extension it's very nice. It's very it's got really nice polyp extension, and they are green as well. So this is a really fast growing coral. I know it's really cheap, and if you're thinking of acros, I have this at the bottom of my tank, and it seems to be doing just fine. So if you don't have the best lighting, or if you're trying to look up, if you're trying to fill up space at the bottom of your tank, I feel like this is something that you can consider. But it's a blue chalice. It's got yellow mouths, and it actually has, when the conditions are perfect for it, it's highlighted pink. So it is. Anyways, this is one of my first 10 coral in this tank. So I've had it for over a year. So for the first, I would say 8 months, it wasn't doing well. Not sure what it was. I think my alkalinity was not as stable back then. So that could have been a big part of it. But I would say once it started to grow, it really took off. Like, it grew way more mouths, and when it's happy and it's expanded, like it's expanded quite a bit off the frag plug, or frag disc. I'm also really excited to see this one grow out. It's currently on a 3-inch frag disc as well. And in front of it, we have my Space Invader. I've probably had this guy about 6 months. I know I got him after Boxing Day, so it's probably sometime in February or March. But the thing with him was, I saw him on sale on Boxing Day. I was like, whoa, it's way too expensive. So what the store did was, sometime in January, they just sliced him right down the center. You know, sometimes it's hard to tell how your coral are doing when you look at them every day. But some of the neat things I have noticed with him is, you know, he's starting to get real definition in his shape. So this is the backside of the Space Invader. And it's kind of hard to see here because my camera won't focus, but it's not just growing up, but I can actually see growth horizontally. So I'm really excited maybe in the next 6 months to see where it goes and what it becomes. So in front of the chalice, I have this bubble coral. So I picked it up from a local pet store that was closing down. And I've never seen bubble coral like this online. Now, I've only been in the hobby since last August, so August of 2017. But, I mean, if anybody else has seen one, please let me know. It does require feeding. And when I became complacent, well, not complacent, when I didn't want to feed the tank because I had algae issues, this guy actually really suffered. So you can see its skeleton. I'm just going to zoom back. And it's not fully recovered, but it's actually recovered quite a bit on its skeleton, because before, like, it was, I thought I might lose it. So instead it's bounced back, and I think that's great. It's a piece I really like. The only thing is I'm running out of room, so that's another piece that's really that will really benefit from the 75 gallon. In the very front, I have I believe this was called Tyree Blood Red Cyphastria in actinic light. The mouths are super bright red, but the skin is like almost like a charcoal gray. So really nice. I have them both on Growl Plug's frag disc as well. So one on the 3-inch disc, and then one on a bit of a smaller disc. This is a 2-inch disc. And in hindsight, it's not really much bigger than the tile that it's on, but it will have to do for now. So we're going to keep moving right. So those yellow zoas, they've the person that gave them to me said they've done really well in their tank. You know, unfortunately, they don't really seem to do anything in my tank, other than they are alive. But the reason I have them out front is because I had them on my frag rack for the longest time, and they seemed to be doing fine, and then one day they weren't. So I have them down here, and they seem to be recovering, and we'll see what happens with them. To the right, so here I have this is an orange, but it's an encrusting coral, and it's actually on a decent sized piece of rock. What I'm hoping is, and it's already doing it, so I'll show you guys the side view, but I would really like it to encrust on this rock, and I think it will be, even on a small piece of rock, it's going to be a showpiece. From this side, you can see that the Leptastria is on this rock, and it's already grown out quite a bit since I placed it there. So I'm hoping in the next, probably, I want to say 3 months, this rock could very well be covered completely with this Leptastria. And this camera's not picking it up, but to the naked eye, the orange is pretty bright. It's not as fluorescent as, say, the jack-o'-lantern, but it is a very pleasant orange, and I'm excited to have like a showpiece rock that will probably, I think, stay in this tank, and if it looks nice enough, I'll probably just stick it on a bunch of other rocks too. So right beside that, I have this Bowerbankie. Probably had this Bowerbankie about 3 months, and he's a really good eater. I've been waiting for him to pop new mouths, and I would say within the last couple weeks, I've noticed, if you look at right on the skirt, you can see it looks like there's some new mouths coming out, and it actually looks like it's quite a bit. So I mean, this guy could be popping out 10 new mouths. Not sure, but it'll be really interesting to see where he's at in a couple months. But they've all been from a local fish shop. It's hard to see, but I would say if they're from the left, so this guy, he's got some rainbow colors. So he's not just orange. There's definitely some yellow in there. And so he's a pretty good looking guy. The fastest grower is probably the one on the left, although this guy in green, I got him at the same time I got the Bowerbankie, and he was one like damaged head. And so within the 2 or 3 months I've had him, he's actually grown, I think, 9 or 10 heads around its skirt. So you can kind of see there. And then I've had this pink acan is probably one of my first 20 coral in the tank. One of my issues with him is that he has 5 heads, but he's had 5 heads for forever. So the way they're positioned, it's really hard to feed those other heads. And I don't know if that is stopping it from really growing and reaching its full potential. So just behind these guys, I have the green donut coral. And beside the donut coral, I have the red Monty. I'm not sure what variety it is. So here I have a Symphilia, and this is actually going to be one of my coral that I go through the history on in my tank, as well as this transformation. So this guy, its transformation is pretty cool, and the other night I was looking at him, and I realized that I think he's grown by quite a bit, actually. And like I said earlier, it's hard to tell when something's grown when you look at it practically every day. But not only has he grown, he has kind of evolved over time, and he's become a really interesting piece. He's probably the most expensive coral in my tank. Him and that Pavia colony that I talked about earlier. I got them from the same guy, actually, from my local fish shop out of his basement. So to the right, I have another War Favia. This one is, I mean, it's a different strain for sure. Well, and the reason I think that is because the other guy is definitely more fleshy, and even the growth on the other guy is more fleshy than this guy. So this guy's more like skeleton-like. And to the right, I have some Duncans. This guy started out as one head, and he now has 3. I have to move him because it's really hard to feed him. He's kind of in this crevice that I have a really hard time getting the baster in the right angle, and then when I do, because this guy is kind of slanted himself, when the food goes on him, like a lot of the food is wasted, like to the bristleworms. You can actually see like below there is a bristleworm. So let's talk about my frag rack next. So there's at the very top I have the 2 chalice frags, and then I have frags of a Bali Green Slimer, the Alcorn Coral, Yagami Tort, and this Reef Raft Red Diablo. And below that's another Starburst Monty frag. So below that I have the Pineapple Express Stoas, and then I have a teal candy cane. So I've had this guy for probably over a year, and he's not done much, except for, I guess he wasn't very healthy when I got him. But I was actually looking at his mouth, and I realized he now has 3, so he's probably in the process of getting ready to split, and I'm excited about that. So moving on above the War Coral, I have one of my favorite acros. This is a Red Dragon. And I've probably had this guy for 5 or 6 months. So I'm not sure if it's going to show up well in this video. But the amazing thing about this is, for the established parts, they are a deep maroon red. But when you move outwards to the new growth, the maroon gradually gets pinkish, and then the tips are white. So it's also got white polyps. It's a very beautiful piece. I don't think this camera does it as much justice as it should. To the right of the Red Dragon, I have some Sunny D Pallies or Zoas. So these are Sunny D's are really prolific. They're easy to keep, and they are a very nice orange and green. And I think there's a bit of yellow in there. But under actinics, like, these guys really pop. So if you're looking for like a cheap Zoa that looks good, I would definitely check the Sunny D's out. So you're going to see 3 nubs right in front. So these are Stellata, Montipora Stellata. And I purposely cut these 3 nubs off of a main, it's almost like a mini colony that I purchased from LFS. And I purposely glued them there because I want them to encrust and then grow. I think a Stellata colony, it looks really nice. And actually, when you think about a lot of Monties that are really popular, the big thing is there's contrast. There's good contrast between the polyps and its skin. And this is definitely one of them. Just bright green polyps, and then its skin is just like a dark, it's nothing to brag about, but the green against this color makes the polyps pop like 2 times more. So I really like this coral. And behind that, I got another one of my favorites, and it's mainly because it's huge. This is probably my biggest acro colony, and it was given to me as a green slimer. I've seen other people call it a Hulk acro. So green slimer or Hulk acro, it's beautiful. I've actually taken pictures of this guy, and then I've printed them and brought them to work to try to get people to check my YouTube channel out. So yeah, he's growing like crazy, and I believe so. One of the things that encourages growth, especially in acros and montes, is damage. So if a tip gets cut, for some reason that kind of kicks the growth hormones into overdrive. And the thing with this guy is that he was already a big piece when I got him, but he fell and kind of got wedged into the rockwork. So when I was getting him out, like he got a lot of scrapes. A lot of little scrapes, and what's happened now is like I see growth pretty much on its entire body, like the entire thing's growing like crazy. So you know, if you have an acro and it doesn't do anything for months, you might want to try just, you know, giving the tip like a little snip, and that could help jumpstart it. So this is the stellata, the parent colony. Yeah, it recovered really quickly from when I snipped it, and it's doing really well. It's actually encrusting on the Frag plug, and it's nice. I think I'm really excited to see what the little nubs become in 3 to 6 months. Okay, this is my Montipora setosa, and I think what I'll do at the end of this video is I will just do a quick, I'll turn off all my pumps and then we'll look at everything from the top. So I got this guy as a little frag about a year ago. So I've had him for a year, and he's growing out, and he's becoming like actually really nice. But he's really encrusted out and branched out, and I think in the next 6 months he's going to be a huge colony. So very excited. Right beside him there is these pink zoas. I don't know what they're called. So these zoas are like the first coral that I ever introduced to this tank. So it took them, they definitely didn't take off right away. About 6 months ago, I don't know what happened, whether my tank just, all the conditions became perfect, but everything's taking off. So this is Marco Rock, and I think part of the reason why I had things were having trouble encrusting on Marco Rock, I've read about it. It's something to do with starting out with dry rock. Mike Paletta actually talked about it in one of the videos that he did on, I think it's like the American Reef channel, YouTube channel. So, I mean, that really opened my eyes, but it's been a year, and I think the rock is now considered live, if quotation marks. And so I don't notice that trouble anymore. Things seem to be encrusting very freely. I don't have as much trouble with anything not wanting to encrust. And so behind these pink zoas, I have some utter chaos zoas. So utter chaos zoas, I think the flow is too high, and they're probably too high in the tank, so they're getting too much light. So what this is doing is their polyps are really small. It seems to be doing good. It's multiplying. I think it started with like 2 or 3 heads, and now it's like 2 little colonies, but what I might do is move that frag plug the next time I do a water change. And right behind that, I have so this is a Bali green slimer. And actually, I'm going to show you from the side. So this guy, he's doing great in my tank for forever. I've had him, he got put in my tank like January or late December of last year. And I think what he was doing, because I wasn't seeing any growth or anything, but I think he was actually thickening his branches. And that's probably due to the flow that I introduced him to. But what I did, because he actually fell off the frag plug. So I took him and I snipped off the 2 tips to try to encourage him to grow. And yeah, he's like, the tips are doing great. They've almost fully encrusted their frag plugs. But this, I don't even know if it's still considered a frag. But this little frag has really taken off since then. And right beside it is a colony I got about a month and a half ago. Well, it's not a colony. Again, it's some snippings of strawberry shortcake. So I got this from a really nice guy in a suburb of Vancouver. And the crazy thing was, I think because it was my birthday and because it was quite a drive for me to head down and check out his place, I had strawberry shortcake before and it died on me before it RTN'd. So I was really hesitant to pay for some of his, and at the time I think his tank had really high nutrients, so they were browned out. So he actually did me a solid and he just snipped some pieces for me. So this is free strawberry shortcake. And it's been about a month and a half. And so it's gone from like almost completely brown to now I can see the coloration again and it's beautiful. So I say this about all the pieces, but I'm really excited. I want to see it grow out and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted for sure. And right below it is a red planet I got from the same guy. It's colored up too. I would say it was a really light pink, and now it's a much darker pink / red. I have seen some green highlights, but the green is not coming through just yet, so I'm really hoping it does. The red planet's a really nice and common tabling acro. And below that, I have my neon green bird's nest. So this is from the same guy that gave me the strawberry shortcake. I'm not sure this video is going to capture the beauty of this coral. Bird's nests are generally considered to be a beginner coral. What some people consider to be beginner coral may very well be due to the fact that potentially beginners keep dirtier tanks or something, or there's some parameters that a beginner tank is more prone to have. So if you buy something like this that's supposed to be super easy and it doesn't work in your tank, please don't be discouraged. I would try some other simple corals. I think Montes are really hardy. So a Monte cap is probably a good coral to start out with if you are concerned about whether your tank can handle SPS. But the biggest thing with SPS is you want to keep your parameters stable, specifically alkalinity. I don't test any other parameters except for alkalinity. To me, if my I'm using 2-part. If my ALK is correct, my calcium must be correct. And if my ALK is correct, my magnesium must be correct, because if magnesium was low, my alk would drop. So theoretically, all I have to worry about is alk. Now, some people are concerned with phosphates and nitrates, and they should be. However, I think to me, the only concern there is if I have algae issues. And you're going to have some algae. What you're going to notice in a lot of tanks is they have the appropriate fish or a cleanup crew to take care of the algae. So I've seen a lot of people talk about high nitrates are actually good for the tank. And that's probably true. But what they're not saying is, because if I have high nitrates, I'm going to have a lot of algae. And what they're not saying is, well, you have to have the appropriate cleanup crew to maintain that algae, to make sure it doesn't go crazy. So to the left of this bird's nest, I have, so this is basically my Zoa rock. These are called alpha omegas, and they have a really nice orange skirt. Orange is a great color under actinics. They're really bright. And then below that, these are the part of the first coral I got in this tank, eagle-eye zoas. And then in front of that, I just made it a bit darker because I think the colors are being a bit washed out. So this is a grafted Monty cap. It's a fluorescent pink with a dull green. So not the nicest. In the future, I might get one of those. There's like a really nice one, a grafted phoenix cap or something. But for now, I'm very happy with this one. It started out as a really tiny nub on this Frag plug. Yeah, I don't even want to say what I paid for it, because if I knew how small it was, I probably wouldn't have paid for it. But now you can tell it's fully encrusted. I have it really low, so maybe it's not growing as fast as it should. But I'm hoping that it's going to stay there for the foreseeable future. And one of the interesting things about this plug is that it is sitting in a kind of a little holder that I made out of putty. And I got this idea from Osmo. I'll put a link to the video below, but he basically talked about how to use putty correctly and how to use putty for your acros. And it's a really good video. Like, I definitely recommend anyone watch it. And moving on, so below that, in the back there, I have some blastos. So these are Blasto merlettis, so really small. They're pretty temperamental, and these blastos are probably gave me my first good lesson in how important the appropriate lighting and flow is. So I had them in another place before, and they were doing great. And then I upgraded the lighting, I upgraded the flow, and then they started receding. And I couldn't figure out why, but I mean, finally, out of frustration, I just stuck them. Like, this is a pretty dark crevice, but they took off, and they're just back to where they used to be. So if you don't have blastos, but you really like to feed your coral, I highly recommend you get some cheap blastos. Because these guys are tiny. Yeah, when I feed coral pellets, these are one of the only guys that can actually consume an entire pellet. So this is to the right of Zoa rock. I have a group of octospawn as well as hammers. So at the very bottom, there's the green octospawn. I don't actually know what's the difference between octospawn and frog spawn. So how about this? I'm just gonna call it all frog spawn, okay? So at the bottom, I've got branching frog spawn. And then above that, the pink stuff, that's actually a pink wall frog spawn. And then kind of being pushed out by the pink frog spawn is so green branching hammer with purple heads. So behind that, I have Pineapple Express Pallies. And then behind the Pallies, there is my yellow hammers. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to turn out yellow in this video, but it really depends on the lighting. But some days they look incredibly yellow. And that's because my lighting's constantly changing. And when I say constantly changing, I don't mean I'm messing with it. I mean, I have different, I have it set at different tones. I have reds at certain times of the day. So right now, in this video that I'm looking at, it looks yellow, but we'll see. One thing I want to say about the Pineapple Express Zoas, or Pallies, is they are incredibly prolific. So I've actually seen a local guy try to get rid of a rock that's just covered in them. They have pretty much taken over that rock, as you can see, but I love them. Like under actinic lighting, the pink really pops, and I mean they're just a really pretty pally. What I've noticed is if they're given less light and potentially less flow, their heads tend to be bigger. So now their heads are kind of medium size to small size. In the past, like I've had like huge heads. To the right, I have the Hulk Acros, and then I have a few guys here. So at the very bottom, I have a Yagami Tort. So it's supposed to be purple and it's supposed to be green. I think because there's not as much lighting right now, it's kind of like a purple yellow. A very fast grower. Above that, it's Montipora pelawensis. So its body is kind of like a pinkish red, and it's got light blue polyps. So again, that contrast, when you look at it up close, like it's a really nice piece. And above that, I have my bonsai acro, and he's doing pretty well. I think I may have placed him again too low, so he's not getting enough light to fully show off his colors, because he's supposed to be a deep purple with green polyps. But we'll see what happens, because he's still technically a frag. So once it grows out, he could change. So we're finally at the back row of my coral. If you've made it this far, please hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be making way more videos like this. But moving on, what you're looking at now is a Reef Raft Rainbow Loom. So when I first got this guy, I've had him for about a year. When I first got him, he had like a ton of colors on him, including a pink. And then what happened was slowly it all faded away and he just became green. Now, I actually don't think it was anything to do with my tank. I think potentially it's just how the coral grows. So I think its tips are actually pink, and part of its growth area is pink. But once it solidifies, it does stay like a green. So if you look at the tips, oops. What I'm really excited about is, he's been thickening up and growing taller for a real long time. And in the last month, I started seeing the tips were starting to create these branches. And if you look at those branches, like the coloration, it's kind of pinkish. So what I'm really hoping for is once those branches get bigger, it's going to be like a green base with some nice pink branches. So very excited. I will definitely keep you guys posted on this guy. Behind the rainbow loom, I have a couple pieces from, it's not really a local fish store, but a store that's, I think, in Burnaby or something. Somewhere in the Vancouver suburbs. So to the left, it's a Marshall's Crazy Corals Pinky Dinky Millipora. And right in the middle, the big one, it's a Marshall Crazy Corals Denim on Denim. You know what? They're not the brightest corals, but yeah, when I went to Marshall's, I was specifically looking for hairy sticks, and that's what I left with. So what I'm really excited about, while both pieces are doing really well, the Millie is encrusting. I'm not sure if the denim on denim is a Millie as well, but I mean, he had this piece for a while. Like, I bought it as a big piece, and but what I noticed was, like, the base it's fully encrusted, and every day when I look at it, it's growing at a really quick rate. So I really need Black Friday to come so that I can buy some putty, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to putty around the base so that this guy can encrust out and then hopefully just shoot up a ton of branches. So that's his permanent spot. I'm happy to have him. But with Marshall's Corals, I bought, I think, four pieces from him, and then he gave me that needle in a haystack. Yeah, everything, I think we have very similar parameters, so everything I stuck in my tank, it just looked great. Like, there were no issues, no polyp issues or anything. So this is my green elkhorn coral. This is one of the oldest corals in my tank. If you look at my tank journal, I think I got this guy maybe a week after I set the tank up. So he has slow tissue necrosis, and he is my first coral that I ever tried to frag, because I had to. And if you look right in the middle, there's this piece, and it's covered in green. So I'm gonna see if my finger can point to it right there. That is part of the original piece that I glued to this rock. And this guy encrusted out. And yeah, now it's been about a year and 3 months. Over a year and 3 months, he grew into this. Color-wise, I mean, I've been told multiple times green is a really common color. But color-wise, I think he's beautiful. And size-wise, I think I say this about all my coral. It's probably a toss-up, actually, between him and the Hulk coral or green slimer. And if I look at purely at area, it's probably him. And again, I will show you guys a top-down view. But yeah, he's got a really nice growth pattern. Like, I love it. So to the left of the rainbow loom, I have a Oregon tort. It's between an inch and a half and 2 inches. So this is it's actually a huge frag. And beside the tort, I have a purple stylo and a rainbow stylo. Okay, and here's another piece I'm super excited about. So this is a pink lemonade, and the reason I'm excited about it is because I had it for months, and it didn't do anything for months. Like, nothing. Maybe the base grew a little bit, but when I got it, it already had like a good base. So nothing for months. I did Asmo's trick, and I put the putty around it to let the base kind of grow out. But about, I don't even think it was a month ago, I would say maybe a couple weeks ago, I was like, whoa, I think I'm starting to see nubs. So nubs are new growth tips from the encrusting portion, and as you can see, I was right. And there's a ton of nubs coming up. I'm going to show you the side view because I think some of the nubs on this side are much longer. So pretty cool. It's called a pink lemonade because the skin is yellow and its polyps are pink. Got a Bali shortcake, and it's nice. It looks really nice. It's just all it's done is encrust, and it seems like it's kind of stopped doing that. So I'm just waiting for the day when it finally decides that it's time to grow. And then here, Forest Fire Digi. It's got the right coloration, although I'm not sure if it's going to show up in this video. It's got green skin, white growth tips, and then these pinkish reddish polyps. But this is another colony. I say this about every colony, but I want to see it get big. And I think it's going to look great when it does. So to the front, so in front of the pink lemonade, and I'm probably going to move that blue Tenius. So I've got a blue Tenius here, which is growing very close to one of my favorite colonies. It's a red Diablo. So it's got red polyps, and in my tank, it's got yellowish, greenish skin. The guy I bought it from, in his tank, the skin is it's just red. So it's red polyps on like a kind of like a rose color skin. So it looks really nice in his tank. But I'm not going to complain about this coloration. Like it looks great. And so I got a piece. I got like I would consider a mini colony from him at RT End, but I fragged it. I fragged it in time, and yeah, this colony grew from that tiny frag in like under a year. So I can't wait to see what this guy becomes in 6 months. Just like I can't wait to see what all my other coral become in 6 months. And finally, my last two pieces. So top left, Cali Tort. Bottom right, I believe this is a Sunset Monty. At least that's what I've been told on Facebook, and I believe the guy, because he seemed to know what he's talking about. Oh, and to the left here, I have a Rainbow Monty. He's kind of lost some coloration, so I think he's partially shaded, so that could be the reason. I mean, he still looks good, a lot of polyp extension, but they're not as bright. And down here's one more Marshall Crazy Coral piece. So thanks for watching. What I'm gonna do, probably in 2 weeks, is I'm gonna release a video where I just look at maybe 5 specific coral that I'm very excited about. So specifically the Pink Lemonade, the Red Diablos one, the Bower Banky. And before I forget, let me turn off the flow. We're going to look at a top-down view of the coral. Okay, so here we have the JF Leptoceras. I'm not sure how to talk about those, but there's some dragon eye zoas with some pink zoas. Green mushrooms. So this is that 3G mummy eye chalice. It's a blood red Cyphastreus. There's an orange Recordia Florida. And the Bower Banky. Got the red acans, the green acans, the orange, the pink. Well, I didn't talk about that guy. But I've got more over here. And that was sold to me as a watermelon Samocora. It's nice. I've heard they're pretty aggressive, so I'm waiting for the 75 gallon to be set up before I'm gonna grow them out on like a big rock or something. I think it'll look really cool. There's the red Monty. Here's my green donut coral that I got from an LFS. There is the Montipora helloensis. There's the Hulk, or green slimer acro. He's nice. It's pretty nice. So there's purple-headed hammers, the pink frog spawn and the green frog spawn. The other chalice is kind of being blocked by the bird's nest. And then we got the bird's nest, coral, space invader, actinia. There's a needle in the haystack, and the grafted Monty. So the red Favia is one of my favorite. And okay, now we're getting into AmroAzul. So there's the strawberry shortcake. It's looking pretty nice. Volley green slimer. And there's the yellow hammer. Yeah, I mean, he looks yellow to me. I hope he looks yellow to you guys. Oh, there's the Stellata. And there's a War Favia. Oh, I didn't talk about that guy. Mystic Monty. And the Marshall Crazy Coral Green Tenuous. Cali Tort. Rainbow Monty. Sunset Monty. Blue Tenuous. Reef Raft Red Diablo. 2 stylos. So the 2 stylos. This is the pink lemonade. So yes, look at him. Super excited. He's doing his thing. Forest Fire Digi. The Bali Shortcake. So yeah, you could see like it's a beautiful piece. It's not really done anything except for really encrust out, so maybe in the next few months it'll do something. There's the Oregon Tort. So I'm just gonna block this light. Oops. This is the Rainbow Loon. Marshall Crazy Corals, the Pinky Dinky, and then the Denim on Denim. So you can tell why it's called Denim on Denim. It's really got a denim color. And here, I'm gonna zoom out. So this is one of my favorite pieces, my green elkhorn. And then beside it is the Sunny D. So at the bottom there's my Symphilia. And here is the red dragon. So he looks kind of purplish from this angle. Again, Stellata. That's pretty much it, guys. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
You've reached the end of the video. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe and hit that notification bell.